And we're going to go step by step. I am going to use this little fellow here to fill in one of the stems. So we know that by seeing it, it's a 5-petal flower. Let me do this, get this a little bit bigger. Where are we? Here we are. It's a 5-petal flower, so the very first step we know. And I have to choose where I want to put it. Probably in the, well, yeah, we're going to put it in the middle. So it's a 5-petal, so the center is there. It's a 5-petal flower. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to use a protractor. You could use it if you want to. I don't like how this was divided. Mainly when I do these, I follow the stem as the first, so that you can have, so the flower has like a sense of direction. So I use the stem as a reference guide as to where. That's why I didn't like the first one, because it was over here. So it follows the movement of the stem. So start to divide the circle into 5 random sections. I am going to, so I have it here. I want the stem to flow from this this part here of the flower, like the bottom part of the flower over. So this division, I have to actually divide it into sections, 10 sections, because I am going to have like markings. So I know that there's going to be a curve, like a little entrance here of the flower. This actually is it's going to be a 1-petal flower. Remember, these are imaginary, these are interpretations. So I have my English is horrible today. How do you say this? La entrada, like a little entrance. So I'm going to mark where that little curve is going to be. This is my main division right now. My main division, so that you don't get confused, of the petals, or of the shape, is that. You can see it, right? So I'm marking where I want how the petals go inwards into the flower, and then I'm going to do that curve, this curve here, onto where I did the marking. So just lightly. Well, it's not that light. I'm not drawing lightly because I want you guys to see. And then the second part that I do is, that I did with these guys, is do the curve of each flower, the top curve of each petal, sorry. And I can go ahead and just unirlos. Oh my God. Dent. Yes, Carla, dent. I can start joining the curve of the dent onto the top. This is not. Here we are. There we are. I'm joining. It's like those join 1, 2, 3, 4. Just joining lines. See how it's starting to form a shape? So there's your first part of the flower. And then I know that, by seeing this, I have a middle center flower. So I could use I don't have it here. We're packing because we're moving. So all of my stuff is not here. And of course my compass is the first thing that I pack. So I'm going to randomly draw a circle. It doesn't have to be perfect. Remember, nature is not perfect. And that's the beauty of this. And this also, the center flower also has that like dent that goes inward into the flower. So I'm going to mark, I'm going to do this very same thing that I did here on the outside. I'm going to mark where I want that dent to be, the distance. So I do the curve. And then I join, do the curve of each petal, and I join all the lines. And there's your center flower. Ooh, there we are. I just repeated in my mind, doesn't have to be perfect. Erase all the unwanted lines. This is my delete button. So I have my outer flower. Oh, the noise. And this one here is a little bit more round, but it doesn't matter if it's not as round as your either picture or remember, it's an interpretation of a flower that you have in your hand or a flower that you're seeing in my workbook, in the workbook that I did for you guys. So there is the main flower and the little baby flower in the center. And here's where it comes where my head is like, oh, they're not the same shape, they're not the same width, but again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then the next step, the details. We'll have a center, which is a very simple loop, 5-petal loop flower. And these I've used them as like the buttons, and we're going to use them here. So I had the main division was here. I kind of erased it, shouldn't have. And just a loop. Very simple. It's kind of off center, which is good. Doesn't have to be right smack in the middle. And then remember, this is a sketch also, so it doesn't have to be filled in perfectly. And it's pretty also if when you're putting color into these guys, that you see the either if it's paint, the brush strokes, or if it's pencil, the streaks of the pencil. It's nice to see that, and you can see that in nature too. This is a good example of that. Oop, where did it go? That's a good example of it's not perfect. So then the next step, the details again. We have these baby scallops in the middle of, just, yep, place them there. We're going to play with also the thicknesses of the lines that we're using so that you can see how this looks flat, and how with playing with the thicknesses of the and textures, thicknesses of the lines and textures, you can make it a little bit more with like volume and more interesting. So my example in the workbook has the middle, the center flower with a thick line. And this could also help you determine if you're going to use a darker color, if you're going to paint these afterwards, or when you paint these afterwards. The center, we know it's solid, and it has the dots. Where's my, where is my cheat sheet? here it is. I need the cheat sheet, of course. Here we are. So the dot markings. We're going to use that, and I'm going to use it in a like a V shape. And it's going to go, oops, sorry, it's going to go down and touch the center of the flower. So basically I'm going to fill in that shape. Going to fill in that shape on every one with dots. That's that simple. Again, and sometimes what I do is just draw the main first, the main shape of the dots where I want them to be. My glasses. See here, I'm going to go down into a V and then touch the middle flower and then fill it in. Super simple. Again, do the same thing. And because of the position I'm in, I'm going to go backwards. A little V and fill it in. And that's it. I can see here also that I did these details, these like little leaves or extra petals that I did there has thicker lines. I'm going to do that also. And you can also start thinking about, maybe I want these to have like a little shading. You can add that. You can change. This is the beauty of the process. You can change along while you go along, while you draw along. And I'm going to extend, of course, the. Oh, sorry. What did I do? That's my hand. There you go. I wanted to go backwards. So there's our first little fill-in. I scared myself. So this is, I'm going to mark this with, if I could find here. Here we go. This is the stem of this flower, just to keep track. If you printed the workbook in color, you can see that each flower has its own color stem, and the circles are each, so that you can see where to place the buttons. Or in this case, it's a single stem flower that has 3 flowers the same size. This one is a flower with 3 buttons. So your PDF, the color PDF, has a different color. I printed this out because printing in color here, it's incredibly expensive. You would be amazed. It's like $1 per page. So what I did here as a center, as a button, sorry, extra button, and this will tie everything together, tie this particular flower together, is that simple, that baby center flower, very simple 5-petal loop flower. And again, I follow the direction of the stem. Let me get closer so you can see. I follow the stem to know where my top is going to be, and then I divide it into 5. Oh, yeah, 5. And then I go in with the loops. Number 4 and number 5. Color them in. And remember to extend afterwards, extend the stem. And here I do the same thing. Ooh. Here's my center and the division of 5. Here it's overlapped already. So just imagine it's extend the circle. So my first petal, second petal, number 3 and number 4. Here I'm taking the precaution of not going over it, but here maybe it's a good idea to have that petal on top of the flower. And because it's solid, it's easy to just draw on top of it. There's nothing to erase. And then here again, the circle, your reference overlaps here. I follow the direction of the stem, so I know that my petal first, well, the top petal is going to be there, divided into 5. And fill in with the loops. Fill in the color. Well, the color of the pencil, fill in the loop. So if you are finding this helpful, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss out.